looks like we'll do this one. React to my boy.
The Empire cannot win.
The revolution's coming alive.
This day has finally come. This is do or die.
I'm thinking like a soldier. Think like a leader.
Andor Season 2 streaming.
I want to keep it 100, y'all. I really watched Star Wars for the Jedis and the Sith, bro.
This episode showed me how favors work. I realized I'm pretty slow. I didn't attack you, therefore you owe me a favor. Why do I have to listen? You do. Mr. Paul Heyman, right now I could tell the world, millions and millions of people watching right now that you...
Yeah, Raw confused the shit out of me.
Suck.
For those that don't know, CM Punk cashed in his favor, and he's gonna have Paul Heyman in his quarter.
But I won't do that. Therefore, you owe me a favor. I've been waiting for my 1 million in cash, Rock's plush. It's like Paul Heyman is possessed by something supernatural, like a genie. For whatever reason, he now must grant Seth Rollins' wish. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. I get it, it's wrestling, none of it makes sense, but come on. Come on now. Seth Rollins joining Paul Heyman is something I've been talking about for days now. At first I said, well, it's not gonna happen, just throwing ideas. You know, typical great one, talking out of his anus. But it seems like WWE are literally teasing it right now. And I feel like that would be one hell of a moment. Just like I've said, lately WWE been referencing the heist of the century. This is almost like a heist, more like kidnapping. But that would be one hell of a WrestleMania moment. Pretty decent episode of Monday Night Raw. Finally,
Okay, I guess it doesn't sound that bad.
more matches got announced. Typical WWE just pissing me off. Sheamus is not on the WrestleMania card. Chad Gable is not on the WrestleMania card. And El Grande Americano gets to wrestle Rey Mysterio. He gets to wrestle the Master of the 619? Unworthy. Okay, so let's talk about the highlights. It is official, people.
Triple
Adam
threat.
Pearce says, I was wrong. I should have known that none of you
Told
could
y'all, that
actually be
triple threat is a sleeper.
professional in that special guest referee match. So you know what? It's going to be a triple threat match at WrestleMania. None of the women actually minded that. We got a big fight and Io Sky came out on top. Which is something I wouldn't actually mind seeing at WrestleMania. She just won the championship. She's absolutely amazing. Now people, Bianca got booed in America too. I know there are some wild, crazy conspiracy theories going on, but I'm trying to put myself in that situation, being surrounded by a bunch of people with smelly ass armpits. I can't breathe in this crowd. And I believe right now people are feeling like, you know what? We want to hate you now. We wanna hate ya. To be quite honest with you guys, I feel like the story is kinda dragging. Finally, they revealed it, something that was obvious for like a month now. But finally, we don't have to drag this any longer. I know
Yeah,
a lot
so Bianca needs to just go fucking heel, bro.
if you want this to
It's
be the
time.
main event
People
of
are just
Mania,
tired
it's
of
not
the-
gonna be
the good
obviously
guy
right
shit.
now. I just don't feel that level of excitement. I know it's gonna be a good match, has the potential of being the match of the night. I don't feel like the story was anything that special. The Judgment Day are so happy. Both Dominic and Finn are going to be in a Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental Championship match. That
Dom, please win. Dom, please win. Please, Dom. Please, Hunter, give my boy Dom the title. Give my boy Dom the title. Mr. Hunter Hearst Hemsley, please.
finally also
Please.
got announced. Kinda out of the blue in a way, but I'm happy WWE are finally making these matches official. And Finn Balor is listing things like, well, Dom, you're going to prove that you're not a loser. You don't have the killer instinct. He starts listing these things. Dominic, you're going to prove that you're not a loser. You're not an asshole. You're not getting pegged by Liv Morgan. A lot of people are saying that, but I'm not. Women's IC Championship match was an absolute banger. By far the best IC Women's Championship match so far in the WWE. One thing I didn't realize, but Bayley is on like a 2-month, I believe, losing streak, which is something I didn't even notice. Really, really good match right here. Once they mentioned that Bayley kept losing so much, I was like, maybe she's winning the championship, but that was not necessarily the case. We got a roll-up, and after the championship was retained, people, Bayley almost turned heel. So what is Bayley going to do at WrestleMania? There's still this possibility of these two versus the WWE Women's Tag Team Championes. There's no way WWE are not gonna put Bayley and Liv Morgan at WrestleMania. People, this is what wrestling is all about. This is what peak male performance looks like. A lot of meat, no veggies. Zero. Nada. This is my dream, man. I'll keep working on it. At this point, AJ Styles is like, what do you even want from me? It's clear that WWE are doing something with Karrion Kross, and there's some kind of a story. I mean, he's always following these random ass dudes, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn. What does he want, and what is this leading to? We got a 6-man tag team match, and this was pretty good. It's kind of weird though that El Grande Americano teamed up with Alpha Academy, so maybe now we're getting 5 members in the faction. I think you could learn a thing or two from Chad Gable, the Olympian, the Master Baiter. We got some kind of a metal plate, he used it and won the match. Rey Mysterio wants a match against him at WrestleMania, and Adam Pearce makes it official, which is something I don't agree with. Why wouldn't you give a match to Chad Gable? The man worked his ass off, and you're giving the match to some random ass dude who just made his debut. I'm all for pushing new talent, but come on. Gunter brought some different kind of swagger to Monday Night Raw, and I really loved this segment because Jey Uso,
this was
when
another
he made
good segment of the night. Penta will destroy Dom. I hope so not, bro. Dom, I need my boy Dom to win, bro.
that fucking entrance, he didn't even eat none of the bullshit. It's serious. It's time for business. At the end of the day, you're supposed to tell a story and not just be a one-dimensional character who does this with the crowd. Fun and games are over, people. He talked about how much he hurt his family. He had to explain why Jimmy is in the hospital to their mother. When I was asked why I didn't help, I told her I was afraid. You could have told her you were handcuffed. You know, but you know what? In my lowest moment, I had a realization. I'm not afraid anymore. I'll beat you at WrestleMania for myself, for Jimmy, for our entire family. The delivery, everything was so perfect in this one, and this is exactly what the fans actually wanted from Jey Uso. This finally turned into a main event level angle. In moments like these, people, I always wonder what WWE actually
That's so true, bro. Because now I actually give a shit about the feud.
expected. Did Harry plan to do all of this, all the blood, or they actually thought people are gonna care because they like to eat? They really think that this is gonna carry the entire story?
Oh my god, that's funny. He said that people like, bro, I gotta play that shit back.
Of this, all the blood, or they actually thought people are gonna care because they like to eat?
Bro, that shit is funny.
They really thought people are gonna care because they like to eat.
Bro, that shit is...
They really think
I
that
don't know
this
why
is
I
gonna
find this shit
carry
so
the
funny,
entire
bro.
story, possibly to the main event of Mania. We got the WWE World Tag Team Championship
funny.
match. A comedian on the microphone. I thought, oh my god, this is such a bad idea.
Bro, was
like
that
a lot
Kill
of
Tony?
match, a main event of Mania. We got the WWE World
Why
Tag
is Kill
Team
Tony? Why is Kill Tony here on wrestling? What the hell?
Championship
That's the
match.
most
A
random link
comedian
up
on
ever.
the microphone. I thought, oh my god, this is such a bad idea. Like a lot of wrestling fans, with all due respect, are very sensitive people, so you know, it's almost guaranteed he's gonna say something people didn't like. I know this comedian from some kind of a clip from like a decade ago where he basically defended pro wrestling to Rogan. They built this match as a very big deal, so I thought maybe they're actually winning these championships, but that wasn't the case. They tried to cheat. Eventually, the Viking Raiders used the steel chair, which got them disqualified, which means they still retained the tag team championships, but then we got a ruthless attack, which basically tells me like the match at WrestleMania is still possible. I just don't expect a multi-tag team match anymore because, I mean, we only have a go-home show left. So at the end of the day, maybe it's gonna be one of these big Raw before Mania. Which, you know, still not a WrestleMania. We got Penta versus Dominic Mysterio. Obviously, two people who are going to be in that Intercontinental Championship match. The match was okay. That was not the highlight. So Penta wins the match. He got attacked by the Judgment Day. And oh my god, I think Carlito just died. People,
bro, that
Braun
fucking
Breaking Day,
spear was
and
so
oh my
brutal. He just got injected into the top 5 spears ever.
god,
now.
I think Carlito just died. People,
Like the way he just
the Judgment Day,
flew,
and oh my god, I
it's
think
like he was
Carlito
Superman.
just died.
Like
People,
it's crazy.
Braun Breaker was already one of my faves. Every week he keeps moving up. He keeps moving up. He gets that prestigious spot of being one of Great One's faves, one of Great One's bays. That's gonna be the name of the list. Great One's bays. Great One's bays. And Braun Breaker, man. I've realized this is the type of wrestler I like, man. You know, as wrestling fans, we want somebody to relate to. I cannot relate to high flyers, obviously. I can relate to very muscular people. The amount of times I got called, man, you look like Batista, Brock Lesnar, and I get it. I get it. And Braun Breaker, like, it's someone I can relate to because we have a very similar physique. You know, I look at Braun Breaker and I'm like,
He's
that could
being
be
so
me.
head ass,
That
bro.
could be me. No, in all seriousness, this guy is absolutely unbelievable. Love the spears, love the attitude, how aggressive this dude is. Just thinking about the shit he's going to do in a fatal 4-way. The barking makes sense, people. I get it. The final segment was obviously Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins talking about WrestleMania. And Seth Rollins actually made a lot of great points about how none of them care about you. When you were attacked by Solo Sikoa, where was Roman Reigns? He doesn't care about you. All of them are using you. When CM Punk left the WWE, he left without you and shit on the company. They don't really care about you. And then he started testing Paul Heyman, how much he can do to Paul Heyman before anybody comes out to save him. Eventually, CM Punk did. But Seth Rollins got the upper hand and he didn't curb stomp Paul Heyman, and now you owe me a favor. It's like I almost get what WWE tried to do, and I don't mind.
He's basically getting punked. He's getting punked to help him.
In that, like, again, it's an interesting story development, but holy shit, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Please try to explain it to me in the comments below. So, I'm attacked by Seth Rollins, but not attacked. Like, attacked but not attacked. And he's like, you owe me one. No, I don't owe you shit. I have Roman Reigns, I have CM Punk. Why would I listen to you? Everybody around Paul Heyman would be like, well, you don't owe him shit, boy. What do you mean? Let's try to explain the situation. Either way, won't make any goddamn sense. But maybe all of this is scripted. It literally is. It's wrestling. You know what I mean? Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins are already in the bed together. And they're also working together. This entire segment was planned by Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. Then again, if he's going to turn on Roman Reigns and CM Punk at WrestleMania, why would they actually almost reveal that on this episode and tease it in the first place? The only way Paul Heyman turns on Punk and Roman is because he actually got convinced by Seth Rollins that, well, you're right, they didn't help me. They didn't help me for shit. But that was your episode of Monday Night Raw. People, next...
Okay. Do we skip over? Do we talk about Smackdown? Yeah, we can talk about Smackdown.
Here's how the average man's life would change if he never saw an ad again. Day 1, he would install
This Smackdown had some devastating news. It was a reminder that even in the scripted fantasy world of pro wrestling, where it seems like you can control the narrative, something unplanned can happen and change it all. Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens is cancelled because Kevin Owens requires a neck surgery. I'm sure if you're a wrestling fan, this absolutely ruined your day. Forget about the match. It always sucks to see a WWE star getting injured. In this case, it's one of the most talented stars of this generation and somebody that always gave his 100%. Literally every promo was great. The banger track record is off the charts. One of these injuries that will definitely have a big impact on the WWE product. A shitty ass situation for both Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, everybody involved. What makes me worried about this whole situation is that if he can't wrestle one single match, that means the injury is quite serious. Also on SmackDown, the WWE United States Championship
I see what he's saying. Yeah, if he can't do a match at all, he's sidelined. He is completely sidelined.
Match at WrestleMania got revealed while Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair segment. I said they can't make me possibly more excited about the storyline. I guess I was wrong. What I was also wrong about is CM Punk's favor, which was finally revealed. I had this universe mode type of fantasy that the winner goes on to face Cody and John Cena at WrestleMania.
Yeah, we all do.
That is not happening. My thought process was, what Cody is going to do with John Cena not being there until WrestleMania. You know, I thought maybe he could feud with Punk, Roman, Rollins. That's not the case. The favor was, he wants Paul Heyman to be in his corner at WrestleMania. Which you gotta say is pretty awesome. Next agenda, next wild-ass prediction. Paul Heyman turns on both Roman Reigns and CM Punk, and I probably am, but like a typical WWE content creator, I'll take all at SmackDown. But I want to start by talking about the sponsor of TCM creators. We even have wrestlers using the link. Pretty wild like WrestleMania, questions, was it planned with wall? You involve some real life situations. This way it gets really, really personal and gets people talking. If you're asking yourself questions, was it planned? Was it not? Did Tiffany cross the line? Good. If you ask these questions, that's great. But the show kicked off with CM Punk. This show was in Chicago, so for the majority of the segment, he just wanted to thank the crowd. He even grabbed the camera. A lot of you deserve a chance because obviously CM Punk is main eventing Mania. He says, I don't deserve it, I earned it. The real work starts now because he has a date at WrestleMania with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, and he promises to beat their asses. Paul Heyman interrupts. CM Punk says, I was about to thank you, but Paul Heyman wants another favor. And the favor is, please tell me what the favor is. CM Punk says it's going to affect Roman Reigns, so once Roman Reigns arrives here, I'll let you know. The fact that he said it involves Roman Reigns, I kinda had an idea it had to do something with Paul Heyman, and since we already had this prediction that, you know, possibly it's going to be CM Punk saying, I want you to leave Roman and be with me. So I guess at this point we all kinda had an idea what this is all about. Another prediction was Paul Heyman, make him bring back ice cream bars. We finally got the debut of Rey Fenix. Everybody keeps talking about who's the next Rey Mysterio. Nobody knew it's going to be a guy who was literally called Rey. In all seriousness, there will never be another Rey Mysterio.
There should never be another Rey Mysterio. Leave that nigga alone. Let him ride off into the sunset. Stop trying to make him pass the torch. He's done everything he can, bro. It's over. That nigga is riding the coattails of the success that he has right now. Let that nigga do that, bro. He's earned that, fam.
I only have one puppy, and his name is Rey. Ray. It seemed pretty random. He was facing Nathan Frazer, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions. One of the most random matches you could imagine. He's not even facing his Smackdown superstar. I get it though. And the match was really, really good. So I can't really complain. Very obvious result. Of course, the one that makes sense. Rey Fenix ended up taking the W, and he says, I am WWE Animal. They had both Penta and Rey Fenix cut the same promo, basically saying, we're home. This is where we belong, not the other place. Santos Escobar praises Rey Fenix's debut, and this is the kind of performance he expects from Angel and Berto. They don't seem to agree. Escobar says he'll talk to Nick Aldis to make a match, Rey Fenix versus Berto. So obviously a very predictable route. WWE are going to build this guy just like they did with Penta. So next week, Rey Fenix versus Berto, pretty obvious result, and it seems like this is going to be the rivalry. They'll want him to join Legado del Fantasma, but we all know that ain't gonna happen. I think eventually we will see Penta and Rey Fenix in a tag team, but I kinda like the idea that they're both on different brands right now. You build them as single superstars, and then once they become a
I want to see them versus each other.
Tag team again. I think that's gonna be pretty big. We got LA Knight versus Tama Tonga. A match that doesn't really mean much, but LA Knight is in a rivalry against the Bloodline.
You know,
I
not
don't mind
American,
LA Knight
though,
getting some W's
Latin.
before WrestleMania. So pretty okay match, and of course LA Knight takes the W right here. And again, the Bloodline are struggling. We'll talk about it later on the show, but since we all know who LA Knight is going to face at WrestleMania, where does that leave Solo Sikoa? I can't imagine Solo not having a WrestleMania match, as he was one of the biggest stars of 2024 and 25. Whether you like him or not, I mean, he was one of the focal things about SmackDown lately. Okay, why don't we just talk about it? We got Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu, #1 contenders match. Winner faces LA Knight at WrestleMania. It's one of these very obvious matches. You're not gonna see Braun Strowman versus LA Knight at WrestleMania, not only because you already seen that last week, but also it's a babyface versus babyface. Nobody really cares about that, and everybody's craving for that Jacob Fatu push. Very good match, by the way. It was a last man standing match, and as you guys know, seeing these gimmick matches on random ass shows of Raw and SmackDown is always entertaining. I appreciate that. You know, this SmackDown wasn't that bad. Finally, you know, there's something really, really worth talking about, and this was the main event of the show, by the way. But as we're talking about the storyline, let's talk about the storyline. Really enjoyable match, a lot of crazy ass shit. You know, I kinda feel like I underrated this rivalry a little bit. Strowman is doing some great job lately, but Jacob Fatu barely but wins the match. So it's official, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. And like I've said in my previous video, it's one of these weird cases where I want LA Knight to stay champion, get another W at WrestleMania, but I also crave for that Jacob Fatu push. Push this guy to the moon. So I'm in this pretty weird position. To the moon. I don't know whether I want Jacob Fatu to win or I want LA Knight to retain more. What really doesn't make sense to me is the fact that Solo doesn't have a match at WrestleMania unless this turns into a multi-man match. which is still really possible. I mean, we have like 2 or 3 weeks left until
that'd be kinda
WrestleMania. Paul Heyman is waiting for Roman Reigns to arrive, and he says, I don't care what it is, I'm gonna agree with CM Punk, I'll give him the favor. It was Seth Rollins though, and Seth just wants to hear it because he knows Roman Reigns is not gonna be happy about what CM Punk has in mind. It's a conspiracy theory. Tinfoil hat people. I think there is a possibility that Seth Rollins will be with Paul Heyman because Paul Heyman will have enough of the bullshit. You know, you're controlling me, I'm picking Seth freaking Rollins. The Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair segment was wild. Like a bit of a train wreck in my opinion though, as I love drama, so I loved it. Things got personal. And this is what the storyline needed. It kind of reminds me of Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins a couple of years ago, where they basically broke the fourth wall, talking about their actual relationships. I love that. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. I do, personally, I believe all of it was scripted, and that was the whole point. Make people talk. Who went too far? Obviously, Charlotte was called second to her father, Ric Flair. Nepo baby, and Charlotte is kind of proud of that. At 25 years old, I'm a WWE champion, while at 25, you were drinking in your daddy's basement. Charlotte is not taking any of it seriously. That was the strongest point of this segment when it comes to Charlotte. She was really, really confident. It's not what she said, but the way she acted towards Tiffany, like she's not even a threat, like a baby talking to me. But Tiffany says Charlotte's WrestleMania record is 4-3, and she's not the queen of shit outside the ring. And when I'll beat you at WrestleMania, you'll be all alone. Just like in real life. What is it? 0-3? And this is where it got personal. I think it was all scripted because then Charlotte responded, that's why Kaiser is in my DMs. In case you don't really know what this is all about, Charlotte Flair got divorced for the third time, you know, now it was Andrade, so they used that in his storyline. And it's not breaking kayfabe, all of it happened. I like when WWE are doing this, as long as talent are okay with it, obviously. Also mentioning Kaiser, who's a real boyfriend of Tiffany Stratton, that's kinda wild. So now in canon, they're banging. It's officially canonical that Tiffany and Kaiser are doing the dirty work. You know, these past episodes of Raw and Smackdown made me realize again, controversy just simply works. John Cena and Cody Rhodes, amazing promo, using real life, you know, kind of breaking the fourth wall, it worked. Jey Uso Gunter, a lot of blood involving family, it worked. This right here, it worked. The same formula they used on Raw, they used on SmackDown, and really when you think about it, it's all about getting people talking. Drew McIntyre is wearing an eye patch, which is kind of crazy, so yeah, the injury is legitimate. He says no one cares about Priest unless he's feeding off Drew's scraps. But Damien cut a very good promo that actually made a lot of sense. He was called out by Drew McIntyre for costing him the World Championship multiple times, but obviously, like a reasonable person, he understands it was Drew McIntyre's fault for always paying attention to CM Punk rather than the championship matches, and he wants to face him at WrestleMania. Stop playing the victim, you'll be my victim at Mania. It's not too bad, you know, I was really harsh on the storyline. It's not too bad. One thing you need to realize is that it's WrestleMania. I'm gonna care about, just a little bit at least, about every single match. It's the grandest stage of them all, a lot of people. You know, I don't take it that seriously, truly. As a reviewer, it's kind of my job to obviously point out the flaws. At the end of the day, though, I'm a wrestling fan and I just enjoy shit I'm seeing. We got a number one contender tag team match. It's still kind of fascinating to see these TNA guys in the WWE, you know, people who spent the majority of their careers elsewhere and they're a pretty big deal in the WWE. You know, it's certainly a different era. You can feel it in the air. Everybody is a former tag team champion in this match. I'm still confused whether the Street Profits are heels or babyfaces, but the fact that the babyface team won the number one contenders match kinda gives me an idea. Maybe I'm overanalyzing it. Maybe none of it really matters. Are they heels? Are they babyfaces? Maybe it's a different era after all. I asked myself the question during the main segment of the show. Is Roman a face or a heel? I can't even tell anymore. Naomi got attacked before the match by Jade Cargill, but the match still continues and she still ended up taking the W. After the match, we got another brawl and Jade Cargill is obviously standing tall, looking like an absolute badass. She's built different, people, and obviously I really appreciate Naomi's heel work. She did not get a new theme song, but at this point with the WWE's track record of terrible ass shitty fucking music, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. Every single time, I think somebody got a new theme song during this show as well. Another intro. The great one. The farmer in the dell. Not everything needs that fucking intro. Nick Aldis announces a match at WrestleMania. Jade versus Naomi. Really happy about that. Especially happy for Naomi, who came back to the WWE, and she's been on and off kinda finally getting that big moment. Her career is kinda fascinating. She started as not a manager, a dancer for Brodus Clay, and look at where she is right now. Really fascinating, really inspiring.
So long.
Okay, so this was unfortunate. Nick Aldis starts talking about injuries, and I'm like, what is this even about? He calls out Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens got a real promo, which I didn't understand whether it's real or not, but when he started acting like a babyface and thanking the fans, announcing that he requires a surgery, then I realized, okay, this is not a part of this program, and he is legit injured, and the match is off. We saw Randy Orton, and Randy Orton looked legitimately, sorry for Kevin Owens, and this is a real moment. And Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton got cancelled. I seen a video of Kevin Owens leaving and somebody in the crowd saying, "You ain't shit," and obviously Kevin Owens got angry. Come on. Come on. A lot of piece of shit fans in the wrestling community, man. One of the best fan bases in the world, yet so many pieces of shit. Nick says, well, your match is off, and Randy Orton gives Nick Aldis an RKO. So Kevin Owens needs his surgery. It's out of WWE's hands. That leaves us with Randy Orton. What Randy is going to do at WrestleMania. You can't possibly tell me that Randy is not going to have a match at Mania. And I wonder who's getting that opportunity. Obviously, for anybody, it's a huge opportunity to be in the ring with Randy Orton. And at this point, I can't think of anything. Maybe solo, not necessarily a match I want to see. There's an idea floating around of Randy Orton versus Nick Aldis, which would actually work and kind of continue the story. Now we could have Randy versus Nick. Nick is a wrestler, obviously. So we could have Randy Orton being pissed off. Like, you took this match away from me and I still wanted to face him at WrestleMania. Obviously, this is just a theory, and maybe Nick Aldis is a retired pro wrestler. I don't know about that. I'm just throwing ideas right here. We don't have that much time left until Mania to build a completely new rivalry. But not having both Sheamus and Randy Orton at WrestleMania, it is kind of a bummer. So hopefully they'll find something for Randy. And of course, the main segment of the show was the announcement of The Favor. Everybody has so much chemistry. I can only imagine how great the actual match is going to be. Roman is not taking any of it seriously. He's not afraid. Seth Rollins is just a spectator, and CM Punk talks about, way back, y'all know the story about how it was Paul Heyman who got CM Punk, well, not fired by the WWE, because he actually believed in CM Punk. And the story was, one day we'll show them. Well, they're not here anymore, so we'll show Roman Reigns. I want you to be in my corner. And Roman Reigns is not taking any of it seriously. He is not gonna do that. He's laughing. Tell him, Paul. Paul Heyman is crying. What, you crying, little bitch? What, you crying? Tell him. I can't do that, my tribal